Well, welcome. Thank you guys for coming out today. My name's Noah, and this is Engage Global. We're going to talk to you today about what this incredible product MMS can do for you, what this amazing opportunity can help provide freedom for your life. And of course, you're going to meet David Namelka and Jason Gawley, and you're going to hear from the gentleman behind this. And I think you're going to find out why these are the right people. This is the right place, and this is the right time to do these kinds of things. So what I'm here to talk to you about is the product, and just thank you so much for coming. So muchas gracias, mi amigos. Está Engage Global. So thank you for coming. And you guys excited? Yeah. Good. I think she's a little more excited than the rest of you. Good for her. Good for her. So like I said, my name is Noah Westerland. I'm kind of a recent addition to this whole team. And what they brought me over to focus on was marketing and sales, and to see if we couldn't take an incredible product that really has so much research behind it. You know, all this science and information behind MMF, and how can we distill that down into some simple messages that we can easily share with people? Because I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when I get with these really complicated, scenarios, or I look at like all this medical research, that it's tough to be able to share that with people sometimes. Sometimes it's difficult to be able to distill that message down. Anyone find that a little difficult sometimes? You feel like you need to be a doctor? You know, like, I don't really know what all this stuff means. Well, hopefully we can do that together, and I'm going to show you a little bit about that. But to start out, we got to have a little background information, right? So let's talk a little bit about free radicals. That's really what this comes down to. In your body, you have these little things called free radicals. Everyone heard of those before? Free radicals, you've all heard of that? Antioxidants. Does anyone here feel like they really have a solid understanding of what that means? See, we got another honest person. I love it. I have no idea. So quickly, what a free radical is, and we're going to talk about this quickly. Free radical is just simply, it's electron prefer to exist in pairs in their orbit. So if we think about molecules, we think about atoms, everything wants to be stable, much like us, right? We want stability in our lives. We don't want all this stuff happening around us. We just want to be able to, all right, I relax, okay? Well, it's no surprise that on an atomic level, our bodies are the same way. So what happens is free radicals are these molecules or these atoms that float around in our systems that are missing an electron. Now, we're not going to get too deep into it, but that essentially means that they're looking to get an electron from something else. So our body's in this nice, stable state. Our molecules are just fine, and these free radicals come in, and they steal these electrons from our body. Okay? It doesn't sound like a big deal, but essentially that's what happens when metal rusts. Okay, that's called oxidation. When those free radicals come in contact with a substance like metal or our bodies, and it steals that electron, over time you get oxidation. And that's what damages our system. So that's what's happening to us all the time. Essentially, oxidation is a reason that we age. It's why we look the way we do sometimes as we get a little bit older. That's why children look like they do, because they haven't had all that oxidation, right? Some of us in here maybe have a little more than others, right? But that's what free radicals are. So it stands to reason then that antioxidants or oxidative stress builds up in our system, and antioxidants are designed to combat that. So we've got all these free radicals that come from our environment. They're attacking our system, they get in there, they break down the tissues, and that creates oxidative stress. And that oxidative stress over time damages our body and can lead to some pretty harsh consequences for us. All right, so what are we doing about that? Well, this research came out in the 90s when they started talking about antioxidants, and the Department of Defense, they started looking at it too, and they said, you know what? What we're finding is that a lot of our military personnel, our soldiers, even people that aren't necessarily in combat readiness, they're not out there fighting necessarily, but they're just in that area, they get all this stress, right? Does anyone disagree with that? And what they found through research is that these individuals are 4 times more likely than the rest of us to get sick or to have high levels of oxidative stress in their bodies. So they wanted to find out if there was anything that they could do about it. And they started to look at their environment. They said, well, what's causing it? Because if we can understand what's causing this oxidative stress to really build up within these individuals, maybe then we can do something about it. Does that make sense? So we know what oxidative stress is. It's coming in contact with free radicals. We know that antioxidants combat that. And we know that the Department of Defense in the early 2000s started doing some significant research around it. And they wanted to find out why soldiers are 4 times more likely to get sick. And so what they looked at is they looked at what's called the area of operation for a soldier. And really what the area of operation is, it's a geographic region that they are in, that they operate in, but it's also the factors within that region. And they started to identify some key factors, environmental factors like pollutants, toxins, stress, physical fatigue. I mean, that makes sense. These guys, these women and men, they deal with a lot of those kinds of things, right? There's individual factors like lack of sleep, poor diet, emotional fatigue, mental fatigue, and of course genetic factors. You know, what kind of things you inherit from your parents. And then of course over time, there's damage that happens to our DNA, right? I think we all know that. I mean, you get UVA, UVB damage from the sun, and it can affect your skin negatively. You know, you take in different pollutants, and it can cause problems within your system as well. And so these are some of the factors that they identified within the AO of the soldier, the area of operation of the soldier, that were negatively impacting it. And they said, all right, if we can address some of these factors, then we can figure this out. We can solve the problem. So they said, all right, if this is what's causing it, what can we do to combat it? And that's where they started to look at antioxidant micronutrients. And they hooked up with a corporation, a research entity, the premier research entity in the world, because that's what the DoD does, right? I mean, the DoD doesn't just go to nobodies, right? The Department of Defense, they go and look for, all right, who's the best, right? Who is the absolute best? Who knows the most about this stuff? And they found Premier Micronutrient Corporation. And they said, you guys are at the forefront of research on this. What can we do about it? And Premier Micronutrient Corporation said, you know what? We've been researching this for many, many years. Here's what I think that we can do. They said the key isn't just antioxidants, because let me tell you something. They said antioxidants as a whole, that term is misused a lot. They said it's a marketing term that people kind of co-opted. They said antioxidant isn't really a thing, it's a property. It's a property of a substance. And what it means is it's a substance that has an electron to give. Remember how we talked about free radicals need that extra electron to become stable? Well, an antioxidant just has this extra electron that they can give up to neutralize that free radical. So it's a property. It's a chemical property of a substance. It's not just a thing. Now, it's been applied to a broad category of things. The next thing they said was what was really interesting, right? They said not all antioxidants are created equal. Just because something has an antioxidant property doesn't necessarily mean that it's good for you or it's really going to be able to do something good in your body. They said what you really want to focus on is antioxidant micronutrients. They said because these micronutrients, these are the substances that your body needs and that actually can be absorbed by your body and really help your body. They said all this marketing stuff, if you go down and you pick up a box of Raisin Bran and it says antioxidants on it, I mean, is it really going to solve your problem? Probably not. You know, you go over to 7-Eleven, you get a box or a bottle of like pomegranate juice. I mean, is that knocking out all the problems that you've got? No, it's really not, right? Sure, it has antioxidants in it. It's got these substances that have a property, but it doesn't have antioxidant micronutrients, the things that really make a difference in your body because they can be absorbed, they are used by the body, and we also know that micronutrient deficiencies cause a lot of problems for people all over the world, especially in third world countries. And because of our poor diets today, it can cause problems for us, right? I mean, how many of us have some challenges. We don't need to raise our hands, but I've certainly had my fair share over the years with injuries and getting sick and all these different things. I know that I don't eat the best all the time. And we know that, right? We know that we're not getting all the nutrients that we need in our diet. So it stands to reason if there is an antioxidant micronutrient, then maybe that's a little bit more helpful for us. So they said, this is what's going to solve your problem. So what are antioxidant micronutrients? They reduce inflammation at adequate doses. They neutralize free radicals because they have that antioxidant property. They're a cofactor for certain biological reactions. That means these are required by the body in order for the body to function normally. Required by mitochondria to generate ATP. That's the energy that you get in your cells. They stimulate immune function and they can alter gene expression. That's what micronutrients can do for you. That's a little more powerful than just some antioxidant pomegranate juice, right? I think so. So, what did they do? They said they did some more research. They looked at the specific factors that were affecting their soldiers negatively, and they came back with MMF. After years of research and millions of dollars invested by the Department of Defense and this corporation, PMC, they came back with this product called MMF. They said, this is the answer to your problem. And here's what it does. It protects organs, tissues, and cells in the body, safeguarding against the daily effects of aging. Micronutrient isoforms increase absorption from the digestive system to the bloodstream, maximizing anti-aging effects. Now, this is really important. It's these particular biologic isoforms, these natural biologic isoforms, that the product has that absorb better into the bloodstream. Because it's not about what you take in here, it's about what your body can use, right? Because if it just passes through your system, you're just contributing to that expensive urine problem that we have here in the U.S., right? All these other supplements that we're taking that just pass through. You guys know what I'm talking about. We've all done it, right? I've certainly spent my fair share of money on those things too. But if you can get that to absorb, that's meaningful. That's a big, big difference. They assist in maintaining normal inflammation response. Is that important? To help the body do what it does naturally? Absolutely, it's important. Maximizes DNA protection against free radicals. Of course that's important. I mean, if that DNA isn't intact, if it's not protected like it should be, when your cells replicate, it's just not going to work as well, right? I mean, you're trying to make a copy of a copy on a photo machine, copy machine. Eventually it kind of fades out. It's not as crisp and as clear, right? So if you can keep that copy as close to the original as possible, that's going to make a positive difference, right? Anyone disagree with that? I didn't think so. It safeguards cardiovascular health with a unique blend of antioxidant micronutrients. Protects cells and tissues with superior micronutrient antioxidant structure. So let's think about that. If we can make the cells healthy, does it stand to reason that tissues would be more healthy? And if tissues are more healthy, then organs are going to be more healthy, right? And if organs are more healthy, then body systems are going to be more healthy. You're going to be more healthy. It starts at the cellular level. It starts with the DNA, really. If we can protect that, and we can ensure the integrity of it, it makes sense that you're going to be better, right? You're going to feel better. You're going to have a better experience on a day-to-day basis. And I think that that's what is important here. Supports normal neurological function and supports normal blood sugar metabolism. That's what's great about this product, is it works on a very basic level within your body. It's the right forms that can be absorbed and can make a difference for you. That's really what this is. See, a lot of things are out there trying to combat symptoms. Like honestly, when you take NyQuil, you're not really knocking out the cold. You're just combating the symptoms until your body runs its course, right? Well, with MMF, you're getting down to that basic level, and you're making the cells healthier so they can do what they do. And that's the idea behind this. So the Department of Defense said, okay, that's great. This sounds really good. Can you prove it to us? And PMC said, sure. Yeah, we can do that. We can absolutely do that. And so they said, all right, well, let's run some tests. Let's invest some money in terms of tests, and we can prove that this does what we say it does. And so they took some people, randomized study over 6 months, 24 volunteers, and they started monitoring their oxidative stress levels through tissue samples, urine samples, blood samples, things like that. They didn't just look at like ORAC. They didn't just take this thing and then Let's get an ORAC score. Does anyone know what ORAC stands for? The oxygen radical absorption capacity. It's a commonly used test to see how potent an antioxidant is. Now, we learned earlier that not all antioxidants are equal, right? Well, let me tell you something else. It's easy to spike an ORAC score. Put a little grapeseed oil in there, and that ORAC score goes through the roof. Does that mean that it's any better for you? No, because the proof's in the pudding. So let's get some people and let's test them over 6 months. Does that make sense? Is that going to prove whether something works or not? I think so. Who here thinks so? Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's look at real oxidative stress. Let's not just look at the substance and go, oh yeah, it's got a high ORAC, it's going to be good for you. So they did that. And what did they find? They found that it went down. They found that oxidative stress went down in people who were taking this incredible product over a 6-month period. That's good. That's really good. And then they wanted to look at it a little more. They said, okay, we know that we can reduce oxidative stress over time in individuals that have high levels of oxidative stress by taking this incredible product. This is going to help everyone. But what if we tested it against people who are in a really high stress environment? That's probably some of us here. Some of us have some things that we're dealing with, right? Some of us live in really polluted environments, like Los Angeles. I don't know. I've heard that there's a little bit of pollution out there. You guys might know more than I do, right? I mean, some of us have just things that go in our lives. It keeps us up at night sometimes, right? We get that lack of sleep because we're worried about life. Some of us have some really significant health challenges that we've combated over the years and have really ravaged us. Some of us have those things. Some of us are in pretty good shape, but we're just looking to protect ourselves, right? So let's take a look at what happens when we take a young, healthy group and we really put the screws to them physically and mentally and emotionally. So they decided, hey, you know what would be a really good test is let's go look at these Marines when they go through boot camp. Have you guys seen this on the Discovery Channel or History Channel? You know, where they're running them into the water and they're waking them up in the middle of the night, they're hardly feeding them anything, and they're holding these logs and they're doing all these ropes courses. I mean, is that really physically demanding? Absolutely. But there's another component too. It's really emotionally and psychologically demanding too, right? I mean, they beat on these people to see when they're going to break. So they said, okay, that's probably one of the best tests we can do about seeing if this can protect. And so they took these individuals before they went through the boot camp, and they said, okay, well, let's measure their oxidative stress. So on this side, we have the before. And they split them up into 2 groups. Double-blind, placebo-controlled, all those big fancy words that we hear about, like, oh, yeah, that's a good test. It's double-blind and placebo-controlled. Most of us don't really know what it means, right? But it sounds good. So that's what they did. They said, okay, we'll split them up into 2 groups. We won't tell them this group is going to get a placebo, or just like a sugar pill. Doesn't really do anything. This group over here, they're going to get MMF. So let's measure their oxidative stress beforehand. It doesn't really matter where it falls. We just want to know what the baseline is. So the group that had the placebo, they had a fairly even mix here, right? This right here is the low oxidative stress. That's good. This right here is the high oxidative stress. That's the bad. Not too bad, fairly even, about what maybe you'd expect with just some average, healthy, young 20-year-olds, right? Over here is the MMF group. A little bit different. High oxidative stress, low oxidative stress. So they're a little bit more skewed towards the back. Doesn't really matter. What we're looking for is what happens after. So they put them through 12 weeks of just physical punishment, psychological punishment. They're waking them up. I mean, they're beating them down. You know, they're getting in 12 weeks, but a lot of us get over multiple years. But the net effect is the same, right? Let's just see what happens. So they come back and look at it. Now, this isn't surprising. Group on a placebo, you would expect that given what they've been through, the oxidative stress would go up, right? It's not that surprising. Now, here's where it really gets interesting. What happened to the group that was on MMF? I mean, if this stuff protects, you would expect that it would stay the same, right? I mean, if it doesn't go up at all, then that stuff works. It protected them against further oxidative damage. Would that be good? Would that be a good product in and of itself? That would be. Now look what happens. This is where the amazing part is. This is the good part. This is the good before, this is the good after. This is the bad before, this is the bad after. So what does it tell us? It tells us that not only did it protect from further damage, it actually reversed oxidative damage during one of the worst experiences of their lives, honestly. I mean, if you can take individuals over a 12-week period that are being run like that are lacking sleep like that are getting fed properly like that are being exposed to harsh elements, to mental stress, physical stress, emotional stress like that, and you can reverse their oxidative damage, do you think that can help the rest of us? I think so. Who does? Come on. Don't be shy. I think it can. And I've seen it. It has. It's helped my life, and I've seen it help in many of yours. Yes. When we hear your stories. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. So they proved that. That's amazing. That's incredible. They went back and they showed the DoD that. And then they said, all right, let's look at one more. Let's look at DNA protection. So, because this is important. And essentially what they wanted to see is they were going to irradiate some cells and they wanted to irradiate some blood and just see, okay, does this protect? Does this do better than what unprotected cells do as it relates to DNA damage? And it does. This top line here is an unprotected cell. This bottom line is the MMF treated cells. And essentially what it comes down to is you want to be lower. The higher on this scale you are, the more damage you have. You want to be down here. Anyone want to be up here? Just by show of hands. You want to be down here. So what they did is they took these cells, they irradiated them, they prepared some of them with some MMF, and others just whatever. They didn't do anything with them. And they looked at them right after, and they continued to watch them over time, and they saw that the cells that were exposed to MMF, they had half the damage of the cells who didn't. Is that significant? Very. It's very significant. Very significant. Because we talked earlier, if you can protect DNA, and when your cells replicate, they're going to replicate better. I mean, does anyone here think, honestly, that they have the same cells that they were born with? No. No, not at all, right? We've had turnover, and it's constantly happening within our bodies. So we need to protect them. So they go back to the DoD, and they say definitively, this is the answer. MMF is the answer. We've proven it. We've shown that over a 6-month period of time, it can reduce oxidative damage. We have proven that in one of the worst physical, mental, emotional situations that a person can face, designed to literally break someone, this not only protects, but reverses oxidative damage. We have also proven that it protects DNA. We've proven all these things. This is your answer. And the Department of Defense says, awesome. Well, we're in. Let's do this. So they start buying, right? And then something happens. And this is a question we get a lot. Well, what happened? How is it that Engage came across this incredible product? Well, look, I mean, Congress being what they are, we all know how efficiently they work, right? They're working for everyone. They pass some laws. The economy crashes, furloughs happen, and the Department of Defense no longer has the budget to purchase this and provide it to their soldiers, to their military personnel. Now, it's unfortunate for them. That's terrible, right? But when one door closes, another door opens. It creates opportunity for us. And we've got to thank our founders, Jason Gawley and David Nemelka, for having the vision to seize this opportunity and provide it for us. Let's give these guys a hand. So when we now, because of that unfortunate situation for them, we have a tremendous opportunity where we can all benefit from the incredible things that this product can do for our health. That's why we have it. PMC was like, we've got this product we invested millions of dollars in. We need to go find, I mean, this is the finest product in the world. We need to find the finest people in the world to help us get this out there. And that's why they selected these two individuals. And I can tell you, from getting to know these gentlemen over the last couple of months, as I've been engaged with this thing, no pun intended, that they really are some of the finest individuals in the world. And it's a great privilege to be able to work with these guys. These are men of integrity, absolutely. So, we have this incredible product. And they said, let's go look at the soldier's area of operation. Environmental factors, pollutants and toxins, stress, physical fatigue, individual factors, lack of sleep, poor diet, emotional fatigue, mental fatigue, genetic factors, DNA damage, predispositions that you have within your system. We can help with those things. We can absolutely help with those things. We've proven it. We've shown it. We've shown you guys the evidence today that this absolutely works. So if it was good enough to work in their environment, do any of you have these same concerns? Do any of you deal with pollutants and toxins on a daily basis? Stress, physical fatigue, individual factors like lack of sleep, have a poor diet, emotional fatigue, mental fatigue, genetic factors like DNA damage or predispositions. Do any of you guys have those things? A little bit, maybe? Oh, there you go. So absolutely. And so the answer is simple. If it was good enough for them, is it good enough for you? I think so. If it can work for them in that environment, can it work for you? Because the reality is they may face a little bit more of that environment, but the factors are the same, aren't they? Factors are really the same for us. It's that stress, it's that lack of sleep, it's the environment that's attacking us and really putting us in a bad position. Some of us have some really big challenges that we're facing. And if we can help ourselves be a little bit healthier on a cellular level, then this can make a difference, right? Well, it has. It's made a difference in a lot of people's lives. Jeff, we talked earlier about some people that this has really made a difference in their life.
Absolutely.
You got some people that maybe want to share their story? Yeah.
You want to grab a microphone? I've got 3 individuals that I'm going to have come up. Shirley, can I have you come up? Luis? Yeah, that's you. And Angelica. There you are. Okay. All right. I've got these 3 individuals that are going to share with you their experiences with MMF. Now, I'm leading off with Pastor Shirley because she's going to set the example. I mean, you give this young lady a microphone and she could take the rest of the meeting. Okay? But she's going to show you 2 how it's done. All right.
I think I'm following instructions. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I was just excited about this because I just give you a little quick testimony of my personal problem situation. I'll put it that way. I'm 68, and over the years I've had 4 major surgeries, and so I was cut with a C-section from having my son. I had an ovary removed, then I had a hernia where the ovary was. They had to go back in and cut me again, and then 2 years ago I had to have blood clots removed, so I had to have major surgery, which is like having open heart surgery. So that means that my body, my system, has been all out of whack. And from this last surgery, my body just went almost like a shutdown on me. And so I found out about MMF in November. And so when I went to the meeting, I actually, in my spirit, since you guys know I'm a pastor, so I'm going to tell you how it works. In my spirit, I said, it was like something rang inside and said, this is what you've been waiting for. Even though I didn't know what I was waiting for. But it just hit me so positively. I said, this is it, so I'm going to take it. So I began to take MMF. First morning when I woke up, I lifted my leg up in the morning and I said, I can see my ankle bone. That's the first time I've seen it in quite a while. Because from the lack of surgery, I ended up gaining a lot of weight because I couldn't walk, because I couldn't breathe. For 3 years, I could not breathe. I woke up every morning just trying to pray that I could get a breath and not even knowing whether I was going to have one or not. And that's when they found out I had the clots and all of that. So anyway, from there, I was excited because I said, oh, I can see my ankle bone. And then from there, it's like some days it didn't seem like much was happening, but I knew on the inside something was happening. And so maybe about a month or so into it, I got out of bed and I went down the stairs, and I just went straight on down the stairs. When I got to the bottom, I went, oh my God. I went straight down the middle of the steps. For me, that was a miracle. Because from that surgery, this is how I went up the stairs. 1 foot, 1 foot. And I've been doing that for months. I could not do left, right. And for me to run down the stairs, I was really excited because I've always been an athlete, so I was very active. And for me to be inactive, that's really was a serious thing for me. And emotionally, not being able to be myself. And so inside, I woke up one morning and I said, wow, I feel like Shirley again. Happiness looked like my inside was just changing. The joy started coming back into me, which you can tell I'm that type of person. But on the real side, it was real from the inside out. And so from there, my last little bit, because I could go on, of course. This morning, I told Joanne when I woke up, I said, you guys, guess what? My leg is the same color all the way down. From having this, because of the clots, it had messed up the right side of my heart, so it wasn't pumping like it should have, which meant the circulation through my body was off. And so the doctor told me the reason my leg was red at the bottom was because the blood was not going down and circulating back up again. And so that half my leg was totally red. This morning, it's the same color.
My name is Luis. I'm from Downey. Thanks to my wife that invited me that day to see something else at Mr. Flores' office. Happened that he had the bags next to him. And we were wondering, we were talking about something else, so we asked about the bags. And he said, well, let me show you a video. He told me a video of Dr. Hudson, and I said, well, I didn't understand much. But I'm glad I had my wife next to me, and she explained me. She went in Spanish and explained me a little bit more. But when I see the compensation plan, I said, wow, can I try it? So he gave me one. That was about 11 p.m. at night. So now it's good that we can find tacos anywhere in LA. Because they told me that I have to eat something before because I'm very sensitive. So I took one. 20 minutes later, I started feeling this warm sensation, and I'm feeling, and they say, hey, you're talking too much. And I usually keep quiet myself. And the day after, in the morning, I took 2 pills. And 2 weeks before that, I fell because I have pain on my knee, on my left knee. I was walking and I fell. I twisted my ankle. By the 3rd pill, the pain started going away. By the 5th pain, that day in the afternoon, my ankle that was swollen, I started moving it. But not only that, I've been taking 2 and 2. And we have a big history in my family about hearts. My father passed 26 years ago on the table when he was having open heart surgery. 2 of my uncles, his brothers too. On my mother's side, 33-year-old uncle passed away too on a heart attack. My heart is so slow that sometimes the doctor asks me, let me check your heart, and I tell him, well, wait, let me get it. But Thursday, 3 weeks ago, I was telling everybody that I feel different on my levels of pressure. It was changing. That was Thursday. Friday, they took me to the hospital. They kept me in the hospital because they want to check me because my blood pressure was going up too high. Nothing. They found nothing. The doctor doesn't know what I was thinking, but nothing. They did the stress next day on Saturday. I stayed overnight in the hospital, nothing. This morning, my blood pressure is 135/78. Wow. It used to be 56, the lowest. I'm not taking anything else, just thank you. Thank you.
I go name is Angelica Passachi. I want to thank God for this wonderful company, for this product, MMF. You know, I've been always constipated, and you know how many of you know that. For the longest time, you know, I don't even remember when to go. And I know that's not good, so you have to force yourself. But when I started taking, you know, the first reaction to me was that I had a headache. So, you know, Mr. Forrest sent me a video of Dr. Hudson. So the video says, call if you have questions, and I did. I called her. And I said, how come am I having a headache? I don't usually have headaches. So she says, oh, maybe did you have any radiation, ultrasound, CT? And I said, oh, yeah, I did 3 last year. So, okay, so it's working. Just go to sleep if you feel like it, and then you'll be fine. And sure did. But you know, especially what I'm really happy for is that now I can go regularly, like a normal person. Now I'm more active. You know, I can stay up later at night. And what it means to me, this company right now is that this is the opportunity that I have to retire my husband from working and to be able to support a mission that I have with young children. Thank you.
That's amazing, isn't it? See those guys at hand, really. When you think about it, you're this incredible product that was designed for a function. It wasn't designed to sit on the shelf. It wasn't designed to a price point. It was designed to work. We saw the tests. We saw what they were